Now in this question we're asked to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of the line segment joining P, which is 8, -3, and Q, which is -4, 3. Now it's important that you remember that the definition of the perpendicular bisector is, first of all, bisector means it's going to cut this line in half. In other words, the line is going to pass through the midpoint of PQ. So remember that we're going to have to find the midpoint of point PQ as one of our steps here. Also, we're told that it is perpendicular. So it's a perpendicular bisector, so it's going to be run at a 90-degree angle. So the slope is going to be the negative reciprocal of line PQ. So now that we've got our line here, and this will help you figure out why we're doing what we're going to be doing, we have to find the midpoint of PQ, because we know that the perpendicular bisector is going to pass through the midpoint of this line. So to determine the midpoint of PQ, we're going to use our coordinates for PQ, which are 8, -3 for point P, 8, -3 for point P, and -4, 3 for Q. So here's our x1, y1, x2, y2 values, and we're going to substitute in our into our formula for midpoint of a line segment, and what we find is that the midpoint PQ is going to be 2, 0, and so it's going to pass through this point here at 2, 0. The perpendicular bisector is going to pass through that point. So now that we have midpoint PQ, we also need to find the slope of our perpendicular bisector. And we know that the perpendicular bisector, since it is perpendicular to PQ, is going to have the negative reciprocal slope of, its slope is going to be the negative reciprocal of slope PQ. So what we have to do is find the slope of PQ in order to determine the slope of the perpendicular bisector. So we're given that x1 is 8, which is our x coordinate for P, and our y coordinate is -3. For Q, our x2 is -4, and our y2 is 3. So to find the slope of PQ, we're going to use the slope formula, and when we sub in, we end up with 3 minus -3 over -4 minus 8. And 3 minus -3 is +6, and -4 minus 8 is -12. We reduce, and we know that this is this is -1/2. Our slope is -1/2. So our perpendicular bisector is the negative reciprocal of -1/2, which is going to be +2/1, which is 2. So the slope of this line, and you can actually see, because I've actually drawn the perpendicular bisector here, the rise is 2 and the run is 1. So the slope of our perpendicular line is going to be 2. So now we have to find the equation of the line segment joining PQ of the perpendicular bisector. So now we are given, first of all, a point, which is the midpoint. We know that this point here is 2, 0. We also have the slope of this line, which is 2. So we have x1 is 2, and again, remember that's the midpoint coordinate for x. The midpoint coordinate for the x value, and our y coordinate for the midpoint is 0. And our slope of the line is 2. And when we substitute in to our point slope formula, we end up then with y minus 0 is equal to 2 times x minus 2. And that means that our equation in slope y-intercept form is y equals 2x minus 4. Now, if you look at the graph here, you can see that the line passes through the point -4. So I've actually drawn this using Geometry Sketchpad, and this is perpendicular bisector is passing through the midpoint of line PQ, line segment PQ, and has a slope that is the negative reciprocal of the slope for PQ. So therefore, the equation of the perpendicular bisector is y equals 2x minus 4.